44. Proud to sweat it out in Africa. The most important way of minimizing risk is to watch a changing situation continuously, which is why I'm always going to places in Africa. In my younger days, I would bring 2 or 3 big sample bags to very hot African countries and travel over unpaved roads to their cities. I sweated so much that it looked as if I had just had a shower. But at that time, I was proud to be the first Korean businessman to go to that new market. I was the first Korean businessman to go to Moscow, to Beijing, to Ho Chi Minh City, and to many other places. Once I went to Angola, and at my hotel, the breakfast buffet was black from all the flies on the food. I couldn't eat it at first. I ordered only eggs in the shell and bought fruit in the market to cut open myself, but I was always hungry. After 2 or 3 days, I began eating from the buffet. While other people don't want to go back to those countries, I am proud to go. I can say to my staff that I am proud and nothing happened to my health. 45. Does hard work harm your family life? A lot of people ask me about the effect of hard work on family life. Does it have an adverse effect? I believe that a happy family life is the key to all successful accomplishments. However, most Daewoo people, myself included, believe that working diligently does not harm the family. Rather, it brings fulfillment. This attitude makes us different from people in the advanced countries. I feel that the destruction of family life occurs because of immoral conduct. When there is too much free time, I believe that a hardworking person can receive love and respect from his or her spouse and children. Anyone who wants to be a top executive has to sacrifice something. An employee who wants more time with his or her family, reach up to manager class, but not become top executive. If you're working hard, you won't be able to spend as much time with your family, but at least your family has greater income and prestige. I don't object if a member of our group wants a normal life, but leaders don't have much free time. Even if you're busy, you can find time to share with your family. When I was young, my wife would complain that I spent all my time working. One evening, I took her to dinner and the theater. I was tired and fell asleep during the movie. She enjoyed the film, but also appreciated that I brought her, even though I was so dead tired. Once there is that kind of understanding, there is no family problem. Even though I have never had a single holiday, we have a good family life. Generally, having less work is more painful for people because we're made to do something. If someone does nothing for 2 or 3 months, it's okay. If he or she has a 1-year vacation, then that's something else. In my company, I give senior executives special leave of 1 to 2 years after 10 years of work, but most of them find that is too long. The wives complain they never have much time with their husbands, so I give them a year off, but then they complain that it's too much free time. A busier life makes most people happier. You may think that I'm socially conservative, but in Korea, America, and every country, everything is based on family and morals. Still, an American husband who is 50 years old or so will go abroad, meet an attractive young lady, and divorce his wife. Any executive who did that in my country would be finished. No one would respect him. Divorce is common in the United States, but I still cannot understand how readily Americans leave their families. Who's taking care of the children, the future of the country? Sometimes I've had differences with my wife, but despite them, our love continues to grow. When there are difficulties between husband and wife, patience can bring you together again. 46. The rewards of awards. During the early years at Daewoo, I received numerous awards, symbols of social recognition. While such awards are a form of praise, they are also a form of confinement. Because of the award, because of your reputation as an award winner, and because you want to prove your award-winning capabilities, once you have received an award, you have no choice but to work even harder. That was what I did because I did not want to betray the trust and confidence that society had placed in me. I worked twice as hard, and the Daewoo of today is the result of that. Through my experience, I have come to believe that the more awards given, the better artisans they lead people to greater heights. Koreans are not very generous when it comes to applause, praise, and prizes. When I go to the United States or Europe to give a speech, I always get plenty of applause and a lot of handshakes. At times, the handshaking has taken longer than the speech itself, and sometimes I even get fan mail afterward. But if I give the same speech in Korea, there is usually no reaction at all. When I speak abroad, I do not get all that applause. Because I have given a speech on the level of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, I get it because of foreigners live in a social atmosphere, conducive to praising others and applauding others. Unfortunately, the social atmosphere in Korea discourages praise and applause. People feel good even if they win a small prize. And naturally, people like to hear compliments and praise. The pride involved in winning a prize stimulates you to try harder and do better. 47. The one thing cannot afford to lose. There are a number of things a person should not lose. The most important is reputation. If your life is personal death, then losing reputation is social death. It is too bad if you lose money. But you can always make more, and money was made used anyway. But you should never lose your reputation. You should treasure it as dearly as life. Everyone has a name and a title, and these not only represent the person, but in a sense, they are that person. If someone mentions a name, you immediately think of that person, the face, the voice, the personality, the status, the background, and perhaps the person's good points and weak points. So a name is a person. If someone mentions the Roman Emperor Nero, you think of all those things for which he was infamous. If someone mentions Albert Schweitzer, you immediately think of the humanitarian work he did. That goes to show you how important a name is, and you have to make sure that your name does not become an embarrassment or a source of shame. So how do you go about keeping a good reputation and a good name? Conduct yourself according to what you are called. If you are called a teacher, you lose your reputation by not acting like a teacher. If you are called a student, then you are expected to conduct yourself like a student. Doctors, parents, religious figures, and entrepreneurs all lose their reputations when they cease to conduct themselves as such. Each title carries with it a certain personality. You have to have certain personal rules of conduct to be called a minister or a priest, and once you violate them, you open yourself to criticism. The same goes for a teacher, a student, or a businessman. There are, however, people in the world who are rather careless about who they are. There are parents who do not deserve to be called parents. There are increasing numbers of who besmirch the reputations of teachers and religious figures, and the same is true for some business people. All of those people have misperceived the social mission that is tied to who they are. Today there are a lot of instructors but few real teachers. That means that teachers have lost their sense of social mission. The same applies to doctors, who start to tell a patient about fees before they begin treatment. Running a corporation entails the same type of social mission. My belief is that an entrepreneur is a person who is given the mission to contribute to national development and improvement through economic activity. If I did not feel that way and thought that the mission of entrepreneurs was to improve life for themselves and their families, then I would have given up years ago. Even if I wanted to stop working and take it easy for a while, I could not. This is because of my name and reputation. Kim Woo-Choong is a name that has become associated with work. To stop working, I fear, would be equivalent to toppling everything on which my name is built. Although the Daewoo Group now covers a broad range of business and industrial activities, I refuse to let Daewoo participate in certain other fields of business. The first is the service sector that caters to hedonism. Services catering to merrymaking, eating, and drinking are quick, easy ways to make money. But because of our reputation, I insist that we avoid such business. The second is the import of unnecessary consumer items. Our imports are raw materials and production materials. If the issue of importing consumer goods does come up, it would depend first on evaluation of whether or not the same products are made domestically. The third area is business that interferes with the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises. Corporations have their own work to do and should not be taking work away from smaller firms. All of these self-imposed business restrictions are based on the names and reputations of Kim Woo-Choong and Daewoo, and those names are very precious to me. 48. Getting ordinary people to do extraordinary things. I believe that everyone has unlimited capabilities, but they are often not tapped except in extraordinary situations. We started our company when Korea was poor, and we worked every day from 700 or 800 in the morning until 1100 each night. There was a consensus that we had to do this for the country, for the company, and for ourselves. We were all very proud to work long hours. This kind of consensus caused everyone to create innovations, new ideas. Even the young staff members preparing documents made unusual efforts. At that time, banks paid 26% interest for deposits. So we always tried to get paid the day after a shipment of garments was sent. Other companies would wait until they were asked for an invoice or were slow to prepare the documents to be submitted to the clients for payment, but I would never do that. Instead, Daewoo's staff prepared all the documents beforehand so that we would get paid the day after every shipment. Then we would deposit that money in the bank and get high interest. Sometimes the staff would not go home, but stayed all night typing documents so they would be ready in the morning. The bank knew we were working very hard and helped us. Despite our long hours, there were no complaints because of the consensus. Once you get people together like that, great power can be achieved. Later, when I started a garment factory, the marker for cutting shirts was not perfect. Japan would not give us any technology. So I went down to the factory and we worked together to improve quality. Sometimes we cried together when we could not do it. With that kind of consensus, in a very short time, we could produce the right merchandise. Eventually, our garment factory's productivity was higher than that of Japanese factories. If someone is really using his or her capability, trying hard, anything is possible. This kind of history is part of our company character. Even today, buyers want to visit our plant. New factories have more equipment, automation, and a good atmosphere, but still buyers want goods from our factory. This kind of spread is continuous. Even though I stopped attending to that company full-time 15 years ago, its productivity is the best. It has no strikes and its employees have confidence. If people work heart to heart, they can solve problems. The important thing for managers is knowing how to mobilize people to do this kind of work. Our shipyard, which had a lot of difficulties, increased its productivity 100% in a year. I went there and dealt with the workers myself. Once we had a consensus, enormous power was unleashed. And if you're going to remain on top, you have to work that much harder. If you remain complacent, those behind, you only have to imitate you to catch up to you. Americans do this too, though in a different way. The American way is to create something new. If I had only a little money and was starting in the United States, I'd go for a retail shop that would be open 24 hours a day and would provide better service than any other. Within 1 or 2 years, everyone would come to that store. With that experience, you could open other stores. Of course, you would have to train people to operate the stores, but that's easy with hard work. Everybody can do this, but hardly anyone does his or her best. If you did, your name would, and automatically your business would grow. Though human capability is unlimited, many people get a certain amount of money and then become lazy. My original partner in Daewoo was like that. He and I invested $5,000 each, and once the company was worth $1 million, he wanted to relax and enjoy life. But now how different we are. I had to buy out his shares, which was a big burden when the company was young. Everybody has told him that he was crazy, and now he's shy about meeting me.